So good day to all of you. In today's video, we shall be discussing about the ischium. We had previously discussed about the ilium. The ischium, it consists of a body and a ramus. Ramus means horn, so it is a horn-like bony projection from the body, and the ramus of the ischium, it actually unites with the inferior ramus of the pubis to form the ischiopubic ramus. Initially, it is separated by a piece of cartilage which is replaced by bone around 7 to 8 years, and the two components fuse to form the ischiopubic ramus. The body of the ischium, it presents an upper end and a lower end. The upper end of the body, it fuses with the lower end of the ilium and with the pubis in the floor of the acetabular cavity along the triradiate Y-shaped cartilage. So here you can see that the body of the ischium is fusing with the ilium, okay, and this part of the body, it is fusing with the pubis. So here you can see the triradiate Y-shaped cartilage. This part is the ischium, this is the ilium, this is the pubis. So the upper end of the ischium fuses with the ilium and with the pubis. And the lower end of the ischium, it forms the lower aspect of the ischial tuberosity. The body, it presents three borders and three surfaces. First, this is the anterior border. It forms the margin of the obturator foramen, and thus it gives attachment to the obturator membrane. This is the lateral border. The lateral border begins from the infralateral aspect of the acetabular cavity, and then it presents a notch, and then it continues as the lateral border of the ischial tuberosity. Okay. Now this notch that you can see, it gives attachment to the ischiofemoral ligament, and it lodges the tendon of the obturator externus muscle. This is the posterior border. The posterior border is the continuation of the posterior border of the ilium, and here you can see that at this level, the posterior border of the ilium continues as the posterior border of the ischium. And then it presents a bony spine, the ischial spine, the tip of which is directed backwards and medially and gives attachment to the sacrospinous ligament. And then it forms the notch, the lesser sciatic notch. So the posterior border of the ischium forms part of the greater sciatic notch and part of the lesser sciatic notch. And then it continues as the posterior border of the ischial tuberosity. Okay, and this is the dorsal surface. This is the dorsal surface. The dorsal surface of the body, it is between the posterior border and the lateral border. This surface is known as a femoral surface. It is between the anterior border and the lateral border. Okay, so this surface is a femoral surface. It looks downwards and laterally, and the inner surface, this surface forms the lateral wall of the pelvis, and so this surface is the pelvic surface. It is between the anterior border and the posterior border. Now let's first come to the dorsal surface. The dorsal surface, it is divided by an arched transverse groove, okay, into an upper part and a lower part. This arched transverse groove presents a notch at the lateral and medial aspects. This lateral notch is at the upper part of the lateral border, and on this side the medial notch is the lesser sciatic notch or the lesser sciatic foramen. Okay, so this is the groove that separates the upper part and the lower part of the body of the ischium. Upper part and lower part of the dorsal surface of the body of the ischium. Now, this notch gives attachment to the ischiofemoral ligament and to the tendon of the obturator externus, and the lesser sciatic notch is converted to the lesser sciatic foramen by the sacrotuberous ligament and by the sacrospinous ligament, and it transmits the nerve to obturator internus, internal pudendal vessels and pudendal nerve. Okay, and it also transmits the tendon of the obturator internus. Okay, so it also transmits the tendon of the obturator internus, and the tendon comes out, and the other three structures that we talked about, they enter into the pelvis from the gluteal region along the dorsal aspect of the ischial spine. The tendon of the obturator internus is separated by a fibrocartilage and a bursa to reduce the friction on the bone. This upper part of the dorsal surface is convex and smooth, and it is related with the fibers of the piriformis and the sciatic nerve and the nerve to quadratus femoris. The lower part, it is rough, and it is the ischial tuberosity. The ischial tuberosity is separated into an upper quadrilateral part and a lower triangular part by a transverse ridge. Okay, and the upper quadrilateral part is again divided by an oblique ridge here into an upper lateral and lower medial part. The upper lateral part gives origin to the semimembranosus, and the lower medial part gives attachment to the conjoint tendon of the semitendinosus and the long head of the biceps femoris. So this upper quadrilateral part of the ischial tuberosity is divided by an oblique ridge into upper lateral and lower medial parts. The upper lateral part gives origin to semimembranosus, and the lower medial part gives origin to the conjoint tendon of semitendinosus and long head of biceps femoris. The lower triangular part is again divided by a median vertical ridge into a lateral part and a medial part. When we are sitting, this medial part of the lower triangular part of the ischial tuberosity transmits the weight of the body. So there is presence of fibrofatty tissue here to bear the weight, and this medial margin, it gives attachment to the lower end of the sacrotuberous ligament, and that's why it is sharp here. From the lateral part, you have the origin of the hamstring part of the adductor magnus. Okay, from the lateral part of this lower triangular area, you have the origin of the hamstring part of the adductor magnus. Okay. Now coming to the femoral surface of the body, this surface, here you have the origin of the quadratus femoris muscle. Okay, it gives origin to the quadratus femoris muscle, and the surface looks downwards and lateral. The smooth pelvic surface, it gives attachment to the obturator internus. The origin of the obturator internus is extensive, this entire area, and so the upper part of the pelvic surface mainly gives origin to the obturator internus, and the lower part is related with the tendon of the obturator internus. Okay. From the pelvic aspect of the ischial spine, you have the posterior fibers of the levator ani and coccygeus muscle. From the dorsal aspect of the base of the ischial spine, you have the origin of the superior gemellus, and from the lower part of the lesser sciatic notch, here you have the origin of the inferior gemellus. Clear? So, by now we have discussed about the two ends of the body of the ischium, the three borders and the three surfaces. Okay, the dorsal surface, femoral surface and the pelvic surface. Now let's come to the ischiopubic ramus. This ischiopubic ramus, it is directed upwards, forwards and medially. Okay. So it forms the boundary of the subpubic angle, and it has, the ischiopubic ramus has an upper border, a lower border, an outer surface and an inner surface. Clear? So the upper border, it gives attachment to the obturator membrane. The lower border, it may be everted in males, more everted in males, as the lower border gives attachment to the fascia lata of the thigh, then to the fascia pollis of the perineum and to the crus pes. Okay, so because of the attachment of the crus penis, in males the lower border is more everted. In females, it gives attachment to the crus clitoridis. Clear? Now, the outer surface of the ischiopubic ramus, it gives attachment to the following muscles from below upwards. So first, here it gives attachment to the gracilis, then to the adductor brevis, and here, from here, just adjacent to the ischial tuberosity, here you have the non-ischial fibers of the adductor magnus, and just adjacent to the upper border, here you have the attachment of the obturator membrane at the upper border. Just adjacent to it, obviously you will be having the attachment of the obturator externus, as the obturator externus takes origin from this area of bone around the obturator foramen and also from the obturator membrane. So you can see that the outer surface of the ischiopubic ramus gives attachment to the origin of the gracilis, the adductor brevis, the non-hamstring part of adductor magnus and the obturator externus from below upwards. So again I am repeating, the outer surface gives attachment to the following muscles from below upwards. They are the gracilis, adductor brevis, non-hamstring fibers of the adductor magnus and the obturator externus. Now the inner surface of the ischiopubic ramus, it is divided by two oblique ridges into three areas. The two ridges are the upper and lower. To the upper ridge you have the attachment of the superior fascia of the urogenital diaphragm, which is a derivative of the pelvic fascia, and to the lower ridge you have the attachment of the inferior fascia of the urogenital diaphragm, or it is also called the perineal membrane. Now it divides the inner surface of the ischiopubic ramus into three areas. This upper area it gives attachment to the obturator membrane and the obturator internus muscle. The middle area, it gives attachment to the sphincter urethrae and behind to the transversus perini profundus. Anteriorly sphincter urethrae, posteriorly transversus perini profundus. And this lower area from before backward, it gives attachment to the to the pars penis or pars clitoridis, ischiocavernosus muscle and transversus perini superficialis. Okay. So this is about the attachment of the ischiopubic ramus.